Okay, everybody, it's 7 o'clock. BCTV is recording. Our minute taker is here. Tonight, we will be doing our board reorganization and then going into a regular board meeting. But before we do that, I would like to invite Principal of Leland and Gray, Bob Tebow, to lead us in a moment of silence.
Thanks, Bill. As you guys are probably aware, we had a student pass away this past weekend from injuries sustained in a car accident on Thursday night. Another student was also hurt. Dylan Landers was a 10th grader at Leland and Gray and lived in Townsend. He has a sister at Leland and Gray, and he has another sister at Townsend Elementary. All three kids also attended Newbrook at one point before the family relocated from Newfane to Townsend. So there's a lot of connections with students and staff and everything. So I just want to tell you guys a little bit about what we've done as a response. So we knew the accident was Thursday night. So Friday we had students, we had counselors in spaces throughout the day. On Saturday morning we had an HCRS counselor, crisis supervisor as well, who was with us in the building on Friday. We had on Saturday the teams, the baseball team of which he was a member, and the softball team of which his sister and his girlfriend were members. Organized and met. The baseball team met for a couple hours and hung out together, which was really positive. After the word came through that he had passed, we organized a session Sunday morning at the school, again with staff and counselors there to meet with the kids. And again, today all day as well, people being available to meet with the kids. And I just wanted to say a huge, obviously our thoughts and prayers are with the family and with all the families of kids who are impacted by this, and my staff who's been immensely impacted by this. But I do want to thank my crisis team for the work that they've done, and the teachers, the coaches, everyone who's had a role in helping make kids feel safe in the last 4 or 5 days. And it's been a really powerful team community effort. And I will also point out, I can't put anything in the comment bank in the chat here, but if you check out our Facebook page, I just shared is a meal train that's been organized by some friends of the family where people can sign up to drop meals off at their house. That's been shared out. Already has 10 shares. I just posted it half an hour ago. So check out our Facebook page if you want to help out the family in that regard. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. And I was hoping that as a community, as a board, that we could take a moment of silence to honor his memory. And so join me if you will. Thank you all very much.
Bob, thank you very much. And thank you for you and your colleagues' leadership in this extremely challenging time. Very appreciated, and just it's a wonder to watch. So thank you very much. Okay, so we're going to move to the board reorganization portion of the agenda. It is my responsibility as the superintendent to begin that process, where we will be electing a chairperson, and then I will pass off the running of the meeting to whoever is elected for the chairperson. We have 8 of our 10 members. We have 10 current elected members for the West River Board. Mike Foley and Emily Long are not here. So we do have 8 of our members. I will need to have a nomination for a chairperson, at least one. It does not need a second. So I would just ask any board member who would like to nominate a chairperson, if you could unmute yourself and do so.
I'll nominate Al Clausen.
Okay, we have received a nomination from Joe Winrick for Al Clausen for the chair of the West River School Board.
I'd like to nominate Drew Hazelton.
Okay, we have a nomination from Lindsay Bertram for Drew Hazelton for the chair of the West River School Board. We can have as many nominations as any board member would like.
Bill, I'd like to respectfully decline.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hazelton. Please note in the minutes that Mr. Hazelton was nominated and that he respectfully declined. Thank you, Mr. Hazelton. We have one active nomination, Mr. Al Clausen. I will wait a moment here in case we have any more.
Bill, I move that we close nominations.
Okay, thank you very much, Dana. All right, with that closure, I will ask each board member, I'll do it one at a time for a roll call vote. You are just saying yay or nay to the appointment or to the election of Al Clausen as chair, okay? Hold on, I'm getting a text because maybe I'm doing it wrong. Nope, I'm not. Okay. Lindsay Bertram.
Yay.
All right. Howard Ayers.
Yay.
Leanne Gilson.
Yay.
Drew Hazelton.
Yay.
Joe Winrick.
Yay.
Ken McFadden.
Yay.
I think the last one is Al. Oh, no, Dana West.
Yay.
Thank you. Al Clausen.
Yay.
Okay. So with a vote of 8-0, Al Clausen, you have been elected chair of the West River District, and you may take over the reorganization from this point forward, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. We'll move on to election of vice chairperson. I'll entertain nominations for that. And I will nominate Joe Winrick, if I can say his name right. Do I hear any other nominations?
I move nominations be closed.
Thank you, Dana. All right, let's do the same as Bill did. We'll do a yay or nay roll call. And I'll start with the people on my screen as I see. Dana.
Yay.
Lindsay.
Yay.
Leanne.
Yay.
Joe.
Yay.
Drew.
Yay.
Howie.
Yay.
Ken.
Yay.
And am I missing anybody? Other than myself?
Did
I'll
Dana go?
Yep.
Okay.
And I'll also say yay. Okay, moving on to election of clerk. I'll entertain a nominations.
Can we nominate the current clerk even though he's not here?
He is an elected board member. All elected board members are eligible to be elected to one of these three positions, yes.
That's the hazard of not showing up.
Yeah, my understanding was he wanted to continue, so I'll nominate Mike Foley.
All right. Do we have any other nominations?
I move nominations be closed before
like
he
block-
calls in.
This is like clockwork, Dana. All right, we'll take the roll again. We'll start with you, Dana.
Yay.
And Lindsay,
Yay.
Leanne,
Yay.
Joe,
Yay.
Drew,
Yay.
Howie,
Yay.
Ken,
Yay.
and myself, yay. So again, 8-0. And Mike Foley is our clerk. All right, moving on to authorized signatures.
So if I remember correctly, right now, it is you, the chair, it is the vice chair, Joe Winrick, and then you had appointed Trish Scott was your third. Just for reference for you guys.
Okay, great. Yeah, I was looking at the minutes from last. All right, and we need 3, correct?
Yes, you want to have 2 that are the dominant, and you always, I mean, you need to have the chair. You always got to have the chair, and then we need 2 others.
Okay, so myself and Joe, and would anybody else like to be a signature?
Al, I covered the payroll this last time, so keep me on if you want.
That'd be great. Thanks, Dana.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
So you want that in motion form, Al?
Yes, sir.
I would move that the chair, vice chair, and Dana West are the authorized signatories for the board.
All those in favor say aye.
I
Aye.
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 Thank you. Motion carries. And paper of record, generally the Brattleboro Reformer. And I think that's what although, let's see.
So we need a daily paper. So for all legal notices, we can have a complimentary paper such as the Commons as a routine, but the paper of record needs to be a daily record. So I would suggest staying with the Brattleboro Reformer.
Okay. I had a note in here from last year that the Commons is also used as a supplement paper as well for special announcements.
Sure.
I'll move we designate the Brattleboro Reformer as our paper of record and supplement in the Commons as needed.
All right, second.
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you. Motion carries. Meetings, dates, and times. We generally meet on the 3rd Monday of every month. Is that agreeable to everybody?
I move that we keep it the same.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Nay.
All right, so I believe that was 7 in favor and 1 against.
That's correct.
Appointment of truant officer.
So our truant officer currently is the Windham County Sheriff, and I would recommend to the board that that is your nomination for truant officer.
All right.
Move to make the Windham County Sheriff the truant officer.
Second,
I'll second it.
Dana. All those in favor say aye.
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 All right, that sounded unanimous. Thank you. WCSU Policy Committee member, just 1 member, correct?
1 member, and then if that member can't make it, when we warn a meeting, we will appoint an alternate at a live meeting of West River. So we just need 1 person today.
Okay.
I'll nominate Mike Foley. Ken McPherson.
Ken, is that in jest or is that a real nominee?
Oh, he was doing it last year and I
Yeah,
figured.
okay.
Second.
He is the chair of our policy committee. He might as well do it everywhere.
There you go. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Don't want to break up a good team.
All right. I believe that was unanimous. Motion carries. All right, WCSU reps. We need 6 reps. And let's see, last year we had
I believe you had the 3 officers plus 3 additional members.
Yeah, I think we had Emily, Ken, and Dana. Is that correct? Or no, Keegan.
Keegan.
Thank you. All right. So who else would be interested this year?
Well, I've been attending them, so if you want to throw me in.
That would be great. All right. So officers plus Dana and 2 others.
I'll do that also.
Thank you, Howie.
And I'll
Those
stay.
meetings are just a barrel of laughs.
And who was the third? I heard a third voice.
Ken.
Ken? All right. So we've got Al, Joe.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Just-
go ahead.
Isn't Emily an officer? Oh, well, they'll reorganize the board. I was gonna say Emily's currently an officer on the WCSU board, correct?
It would be difficult for her to remain officer if she is not appointed
Oh,
as
yeah.
as a rep by this board.
That is a great point. Thank you very much.
I can stand down and she can fill in that role.
Okay. Thanks, Joe.
You're welcome.
Dana, you better keep coming though.
Oh, I will. I like to stay informed as best I
Oh, the
can.
meetings are a barrel of laughs, I hear.
Yeah.
All right, so you have a slate of 6. It is Al, Joe, and Mike, the 3 officers, Emily, Howie, and Ken. A slate of 6. If someone would like to make a motion to offer that slate of 6, possibly Lindsay or Leanne, who are not on that slate.
We'll move to appoint that slate of 6. So just mentioned.
I'll second.
Thank you, Leanne. All those in favor say aye.
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 Buddy, nay? No? All right, motion carries.
Okay, I just want to let you know you're doing really good, staying efficient and going fast. So let's keep it going.
All right, let's do it. So our board norms, maintain our focus, communicate respectfully, be present, keep the board productive and effective, and as Bill just mentioned, respect the agenda and the time. So those are our board norms. And now moving on to correspondence.
You have not received any correspondence for this meeting.
Perfect. Thank you. And moving on to members of the public. So for all members of the public, if there's anything that is not, you do not see on the agenda that you'd like to speak to, have questions about, please let us know now. Otherwise, you can speak to it when we come to that point in the agenda. Does anybody have anything above and beyond what we have in the agenda?
I am not seeing any blue hands.
No blue hands. All right.
Excuse me, didn't we have correspondence from Miss Kaylee or Miss Abby Hazelton?
Oh, we're going to address that during student report, Ken. I thought that it would just kind of merge together, but thank you for making sure that her voice was heard.
Okay.
Thanks, Ken. Yep. And yes, without further ado, student reports.
Like it was already mentioned, I sent my student board report in prior to the meeting, explaining my funding request on behalf of the senior class.
So just a review, Abby Hazelton is a 2-year member of this school board as a student member. And she points out in her request that as an understatement, it has been a quite unusual 16 months. Therefore, limiting the opportunities for the current senior class to be able to gather and raise appropriate funds for a celebration. And the request is for the board to approve up to $5,000 to support the senior class in having a senior class trip.
I'll make that motion.
Thanks, Drew. Second.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Dana. And discussion.
Well, I was wondering, where can the kids go?
So the travel guidance has been erased. So it's whatever the travel guidance under step 3 allows, which allows an enormous amount of flexibility.
Within the United States border, right?
Yes, international travel would be the challenge. Yes. Thank you, Dana. That's a good
I know
point.
Montreal has always been enticing for senior class trip.
That will, yes, international travel will not be a part of the
Okay.
making process.
We're setting parameters.
How about the U.S. Virgin Islands?
I would
you
have
need
to
a
check
bigger
the
request.
guidance on that. Yes.
I don't think up to $5,000 is going to get the whole class there unless somebody.
That leads into my question. I'm wondering if there's any rollover funds from previous years that can get compiled into this.
I believe that each class raises them independently and then they spend them independently. So this class is,
They wouldn't have raised funds that they didn't get to spend because of COVID, right? To do something for a previous year or something like that. They
I'm going to
don't-
defer to Bob on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can say that there's been a significant lack of fundraising capability in the last couple of years. In fact, we're using some local money to help support the prom because the junior class doesn't have the finances to be able to pull that off on their own without our support. So, I mean, the senior class also generously gives a scholarship to one of their members. And they also give a gift to the school typically. So I think Abby, you can speak to this, but I think they were accounting for those funds already being tied to something else, and that this is sort of in addition to that.
Yeah, it was also difficult for us last year because we put money into a prom that we didn't end up having. So we spent a lot of money on decorations and a DJ, which we were able to get the funds back for the DJ. But just a lot of our funding went into a prom that we weren't able to have.
Al, you have a hand up from Tammy Clausen.
Yes, please go ahead, Tammy.
Hi, as one of the co-senior class advisors, yeah, I just wanted to say that obviously over the last 13 months or so, nobody's been able to fundraise. They have been in good shape in terms of being able to pay for the senior class gift and to pay for the John Newton scholarship. But they definitely don't have any money to do any kind of a class trip. So I'd be happy to work with them and work with all of you if you approve this money. Hopefully to do it, I'm guessing probably between June 11th and June 17th or something like that. I'm thinking that week sounds appropriate for a trip. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just have one other question.
Sure, go ahead, Lindsay.
I'm definitely in support of this. I'm just also curious what the sort of average is, I guess, over the years of how much seniors have fundraised to this point. $5,000 is just a number to me. I don't have any reference point, and I was just curious how it relates to previous years.
Go ahead, Bob.
I can tell you that typically, I'm not exactly sure of the cost, but I know typically for the last several years, the senior trip has been usually a trip, a day-long adventure down to Six Flags. Six Flags usually has a senior day where it's just members of senior classes that can come. The park is closed to other groups. So, it's transportation, it's ticket costs, and maybe, money for each kid to have food from that as well. So that's typically, I think, what they've done the last few years. I don't know if Abby has costs on that or Tammy has costs on that, but that's how it's been in the last couple of years.
Go ahead, Howie.
These
I
kids-
think
Oh,
What's that?
sorry.
These
Go
kids,
ahead.
these kids really got shortchanged out of their senior year, man. Every bit of help we can give them, I am all in favor of. I think we should just call the vote and give them the money.
Thanks, Howie. Did you have further, Abby?
I was just going to add that there's a pretty good chance that Six Flags would be our option for a class trip.
Go ahead, Bob.
Yep, my only question is really, and I see Lori is on the call as well. If you guys are going to vote in the affirmative, which I would obviously endorse and support, my question is where or what line would that be coming from, or would you leave that up to Lori's direction at this point? Because I assume we're talking about local funds. Approving it.
We're gonna take it out of your salary, Bob.
Kind of what I thought would happen. So.
Take it out of board stipends.
Well, I think Bill
Sounds
probably.
Yeah, I mean, my suggestion would be for the board to approve up to $5,000 and direct the superintendent and the director of finance and the principal to find it in an appropriate location.
I will make that motion. Ken McFadden.
Second.
Discussion.
So is Drew gonna have to get rid of his original motion?
Yeah, right.
I will gladly amend my motion to include your instructions.
And I'll second it.
Great.
Then I'll withdraw my motion.
Thank you, Ken.
Whatever works.
And your second, Howie? Yes.
Yeah, that's fine. You can withdraw that too.
All right. So we have the amended motion. Perfect. Any other further discussion on the amended motion? All right.
All-
Thank you, Ken. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Abstain? No, unanimous. All right, thank you. Motion carries 8-0. Thank you, senior class. Enjoy your time as you well deserve.
Thank you very much.
You are welcome. All right. So before I move on, is there anything else student report wise?
Just that Abby has some sketchy internet, so she may be in and out, and that Mr. Hazelton may be leaving the meeting as well. He has some other commitments that may be necessary for his evacuation.
All right. Thank you. Okay, moving on to the appointment process for unfilled positions. So we have treasurer and clerk. And Bill, correct me if I'm wrong, but Rick is
Yeah,
currently
your
on.
current treasurer, Rick Hagee, is willing to serve if the board chooses to appoint.
Okay.
And I'll talk about the clerk after the board deals with that.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion on the treasurer.
I'll move that Rick Hagee be appointed to that position as treasurer.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All right. All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Thank you. And moving on to clerk.
So clerk, I would like to ask the board if it's okay with you if I check with all the individual town clerks. I haven't been able to accomplish that yet. We do have a new town clerk in Townsend as well. And then I would bring back to the board any of those people that are interested to your June meeting. And then you could appoint a clerk at that time if that works for the board.
Is that agreeable?
Yeah, unless somebody else is stepping up to it, then I don't see any alternative.
Okay.
And then that
Move to
leads into
postpone the
the
nomination
perfect.
or
Thank
the
you, Ken.
appointment.
That's good. And then for the Jamaica Rep, I was hoping that the board would allow the same process you did before for the at-large rep, where we publicly say tonight that we are looking for a Jamaica representative, and that we promote that through a Front Porch Forum, posting in the town newsletter, getting it out there for people to submit a letter of interest. And then at your June meeting, you receive those letters of interest, and then the board decides to appoint from that point forward.
All right. Agreeable?
Sounds good to me.
All right.
Works. There's some names being thrown around out there, so we'll have somebody.
That's great.
Thanks, Dana. All right. Moving on to Journey East update.
I'm going to pass this to Principal Tebow.
All right. Thank you. So you have, I think in your packet, I believe it's on page 5 of that long document, a Journey East future perspective. And I've spent a lot of time with Jesse Riemenschneider, the director of the program. We've consulted with Tom Connor, and we've created this document to give you guys an idea of some things to think about. I am going to ask that at the conclusion of my brief description here that you guys table this for discussion at the June meeting. Mr. Connor would like to join and would like the opportunity to be able to speak and address some of the history of the program and the impact on the community and so on and so forth. And so just want to make sure it was on the agenda, that you guys had a briefing of what it was, and then be able to open it up for more discussion in June. So that's my request. So we've, Jesse and I think, came to you guys a couple of years ago to talk a little bit about the funding challenge that we have within Journey East, and how, because of the change in the source of funding to supplement the program, that the program wasn't financially sustainable anymore. And so this gives you a little bit of an overview of the challenges to it and why. We are committed to our trip for this coming year, the one that was basically canceled from last year. And we are committed to doing one more receiving of the exchange from the Inner Mongolian Arts College as well. And so it is our hope, after meeting with Lori Garland and talking about the financial stuff and with Bill, that really you guys are left with really two options. And maybe there's other creative ones as well, but the two that we could come up with was to spend a couple of years, put some money in the coffers, make some commitment to some finances, and explore the feasibility of this longer term. That would have to be by replacing Jesse as director, and the funding needs are listed here in this paragraph. Hire someone to not only direct the program for the next several years, but also to explore the feasibility of how we can make it financially independent. So that would be sort of option A, and it's a multi-year commitment, really. And you can see we've estimated that at about $100,000 for budget year 23, which you guys will be developing in the fall, and around $200,000 for budget year 24, when that extra money includes the trip. That would be one option, and then hire someone who has a background in that kind of thing and allow them an exploratory time to figure out if they can solve that problem. It's outside of the scope of Jesse's and my experience, and frankly, our time constraints for the rest of our jobs. So we just felt like if we were going to explore pursuing this longer term, we really need to find someone who could do that almost exclusively full time. Option number 2 would be to gracefully end the program. And that, again, the trip would happen. We would receive the trip, and we would wrap it up with some sort of gala celebration of the 20 plus years that this partnership has been in existence. And as you can see in the last paragraph in the top part, under current situation, there are some funds available to do some interesting things at the end to help make that a really special end of an era. So we would like the board to hear from the community on the June meeting, discuss, debate, and tell us what direction they want to go. And then if they choose to take option A, to commit to the budget this fall, that would be something they would, that you guys would be willing to do and put to the community. So that's the briefing. I'm happy to answer any questions about the facts or the nature of it. But as I said, I would love if you guys could table discussion in a deeper way until the June meeting.
I'll move that we table discussion to the June meeting.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thanks, Dana. All those in favor say aye.
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 I,
Any opposed? No, motion carries. Thank you. Thanks, Bob. I appreciate it. Thanks for the update and all the hard and thoughtful work that went into formulating, those potential options. Appreciate it. All right, moving on to Leland and Gray exploration of PBGR.
Yep, and I'm just because of everything that's happened in the last week, we haven't, I don't have time, I don't have a presentation for you on that yet, but just wanted you guys to know that we're exploring some really creative, futuristic thinking around what school could look like, based on what we've learned in the last couple of years in COVID and what we've learned from our experience implementing PBGRs, and what we've learned from our experiment in project-based learning as well. So lots of things coming together at the right time for us to really try something very different and unique. And I'm just not in a position yet to be able to tell you more about that right now. So I will in a later meeting.
Appreciate it. Completely understand. All right, moving on to negotiation committee. Right now, it's a committee of one, Mr. Winrick. So I believe he is looking to recruit some help. Joe, do you want to?
it's Ben, Trish, Scott, and I. We could take another. There's room for another one or two. Right now, we're in the very beginnings of the support staff contract, and the co-curricular has given us a proposal that we're just waiting for financial implications on. The co-curricular is generally a pretty easy negotiation. The other negotiation, if you're doing the support staff or the actual master agreement, those can get more involved and take more time and energy and thought. So not to scare anyone away, it's not bad work at all. And you get to spend a lot of time with Lori.
That's a bonus. That's a bonus. Is there anybody who would like to join Joe on the negotiations committee?
I guess it's going to be Emily and Mike, right?
Yeah.
Since they're not here.
Yeah, right.
So moved.
Was there anybody else who wanted to?
Who said they would?
Emily and Mike both have been moved.
Emily's going to be hard to get her schedule, but I was really only kidding.
Come on, Dana, man. We pulled you off the WCSU one. Come on, Dana.
I'm not really good at negotiations.
I've heard you're great.
Oh, you can throw me on there if you want. I'll do it. Throw me to the wolves.
You and me, Dana, we'll get it done.
Yeah.
Do we need a motion for that?
Yes, I would like a motion for that.
I move to appoint Mr. West to the negotiations committee along with Joe Winrich.
Second.
Howie, any discussion? All right, seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any nays?
I'll abstain.
Okay,
Oh, come on.
one abstention. Motion still carries though, Dana.
Yeah, I know.
All right, thank you. All right.
Just a reminder, you guys are being extremely efficient. I would encourage you to continue on that path.
You're slowing us down, Bill.
Yeah, right. Come on, Bill. Moving along. All right, WRED Join Waiting Study Coalition. So I'm sure you've seen some emails regarding this, but they've definitely been helpful and beneficial in terms of pushing the agenda up in the legislature. So I think it would be wise for us to join this. Yeah, I don't think there's really any need for us to, other than to be involved. There are meetings that are on Thursdays at, Bill, correct me if I'm wrong, is it 5 to 6 on Thursdays?
I believe that is correct. Yes.
So anybody who's a district that's involved with a coalition can join that meeting. There is a somebody that oh gosh.
So Mark Schaber from the River Valleys District is the executive director, and they have employed a lobbying firm as well.
Right, and they've done a great job petitioning the state. So, and pushing really hard at this moment on the excess spending threshold, and then hopefully eventually the waiting study. So, the language is right here. So if everybody's agreeable with that, we can join the waiting study coalition.
So moved. I move we join the Waiting Study Coalition.
So Howie, what I heard you say is you're reading the exact motion from the agenda, right?
Correct.
Great work.
As written.
Joe, you were second?
You bet.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Yeah, I'll discuss it. I think this is critical. We're getting screwed. We're getting screwed every which way till Sunday on the funding of our kids, and we're being penalized in our taxes for providing the most basic education for our kids. And this has got to stop. It's not fair. So
thanks, Howie. Joe?
I agree. We need to change the formula. It's been, it was made up 20 years ago, and now that they've actually looked at it, it's not correct. And we just need to keep holding feet to the fire so that it doesn't get dragged out. Everybody's slow to change, and the legislature is no exception. So pushing this forward so that we can do what we need to do for our students.
Thanks, Joe. Yeah, I mean, Lori, correct me if I'm wrong, but just to kind of put a fine point on it, the excess spending threshold for FY22 and FY23 each year would equate to more than $300,000, correct? Or 11%, or 11 cents on our unified tax rate.
Right, 14 cents for
14 cents.
22.
Wow. Yeah. So they would go from 196 to $1.82.
That is correct.
Okay, I think there would be some very happy taxpayers out there.
Not to mention the change in the weights would be huge for us as well.
Yeah, right, exactly. And all the other things that we could do that we cannot currently do because of the inequity. So appreciate it.
Hey, Al.
Yes,
Are
sir.
you kind of writing those letters that we keep getting urgent response to? Are you answering for all of us, please? I can't keep track of all of them.
Oh yeah. Don't worry about it. I mean, if you want to, certainly, you want to tag along, great, no problem.
I sent one letter. It wasn't really proper. I got kind of angry one night and sent something that probably should have cooled my jets on. So. But I sent it.
Those are the ones I don't want to sign as a board member.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You didn't tag me, so I didn't.
No, it's all me. I took full responsibility for that. I own it.
Well, it's been 23 years of inequity, so there's definitely some unhappy people. Yeah. All right. Any other discussion? All right. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion carries. 8-0. Financial management questionnaire. Do we need to pull this one up and to fill it out, or do we want to do this?
I think Lori has a comment for you.
Oh, yes, Lori.
To keep you all moving efficiently, I would suggest that you let the business office fill this out and I can present it for your review in June.
I think that is a fantastic idea.
Right.
I make a motion that we let the business office tackle this responsibility.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you very much, Lori. Appreciate that. Yeah, I took
Thank
a look at that. That would have been a solid half hour, 45 minutes. Appreciate it. All right, so financial update. So that would be you next, Lori, I believe.
Right. So as you can see, the audit is finalized finally. So, that's for your review. We didn't order bound copies this year because those are still from last year sitting in my closet. So this is the only copy that you'll have. We will get this now that you have seen it. I will get it up to your website as well as it'll be on the WCSU website. So for financial review, typically every quarter I do a little, where you're at year to date. And I don't know if somebody wants to pull the document up I sent, or I can just quickly talk through it. Your call.
Yeah, could we have somebody share it? That'd be possible.
I'll pass to Joe and Joe can pull up, but I'm sure he doesn't want the 80 pages. So Lori's gonna have to be very distinct about where it is.
What,
Page 97 in the document.
97, Lori?
In the document, yeah, in the board packet.
Gotcha. Right now, I can share.
All
This
right,
is where you want?
I do. You can go right to the next page.
Okay.
All right, so this is looking towards the end of the year, and it does appear that West River will come out with a surplus of about 177,000. This will fluctuate somewhat, but looking in good shape. Very, very good shape in expenses. So expenses were way down. But also revenues were down, which we expected, right? Because we planned for the revenues to be down in fiscal year 22. So this is around the tuition, the loss of tuition students. It's showing up now. We've planned for it in 22. I also combined this with the food service fund because they really, the food service and the general fund interact together. So as you can see, there's a loss in the food service. However, I expect that gap to be reduced. We do not have all of our funding, and it's a little bit hard to project funding for the food service this year because of all the changes. Right now, everyone is eating for free, which West River does anyway, but the reimbursement rate is actually higher. So I do expect that deficit to come down. One of the reasons that there isn't as much revenue, even though the rate is higher, is because just from lack of students being in the building and eating. So now that they are back, basically full time, the numbers are starting to go up, meaning the revenues will go up for the last few months of the year. So, you know, between the two, so that means we need to move some of that money, that 177,000, to cover the deficit in the food program. So, you know, let's be conservative on that 177,000. You can go to the next slide.
Lori,
So-
quick question on the last one.
Yeah.
Is the revenue, the tuition revenue, in line pretty much with what you expected?
Yes. Yes, it's about it's roughly about 200 and a little more than 200,000 less than what we budgeted for, because the numbers just changed from the plan. You know, we plan what almost a year and a half before, and students either left or changed their mind, went to a different school. But the declining enrollment shows up in your tuition students as well. So that is part of it.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. And this is just a function budget, expense budget, just to kind of show you where the ins and the outs were, the deficits in certain programs, and then surpluses in certain programs. So if anybody has any questions.
Lori, will some of these numbers change now that we are in person more with kids?
So some will. So, you know, you're looking at the fiscal year to date. Well, you know, if you're looking at the columns, you're looking at the budget and then the year to date expenses and then the encumbrances. So right now, all of the payroll has been encumbered for the rest of the year. And as of May 1st, I put on a spending freeze or purchasing freeze. So there shouldn't be any, major expenses coming up, with the exception of like today, I just signed a contract for some more HVAC work, but we're hoping that that can be reimbursed once the HVAC grant from the state through Efficiency Vermont comes through again. But it will hit this budget. So there'll be ins and outs right up to the, June 30th. We just approved $5,000 for the class, so that'll come out of this as well. So it's not a done deal until probably September, really, to be honest with you.
When you get all the invoices and
yeah, right.
Everybody's going to be a little late on some things, so.
Yeah. All right, you can go to the next slide, I think, unless somebody else has a question. This is just simply where we're seeing the, savings. The dark blue is the budget line and the light blue is the actual. So just a different look at the budget. And I think that's it, but I'm not sure. Is there another one? Oh, okay. No, I did include other major funds. I thought, as we've gone through the year, we've had lots of grants, and I really want for you to understand where the money is being spent. So grants actually they really cross fiscal years in a lot of ways. So, there was money spent, for instance, in the CRF LEA grant, there was money spent also in 20. So this is primarily 21. So $69,000 of grant money was spent in the CRF LEA grant. And that went for, there was PPE, different supplies, outdoor furniture, that type of thing. Anything that the CRF LEA grant was to get, really recovery. The CRF HVAC, $204,000 has been spent out of that fund. So, which is, we have the money for already from Efficiency Vermont. So you're seeing only the expense side of things. All of these funds are, they have to have a revenue to offset them. If not, then we have to have a discussion about that. Some REAP funding that has been used for a variety of things, summer schools. Bob, I don't know if Bob's still on the call, but he's used every last penny of the REAP money, so he's using it very wisely, as all the principals are. And there's more to come.
Laura, you just got a double thumbs up from Bob.
Yeah. The special revenue fund, this is for all of the different activities in there that happen that are other grants that might be local grants or that type of thing. Not a lot, as Abby, as we can attest to, hasn't been a lot of expenses either out of the student activity fund. You can see that's about $3,100 there. And of course, the trust fund will just start to be used at the end of the year. And then I wanted to just point out the biomass, the capital fund. So we know that the biomass system was a lot more than $39,000. So this is fiscal year. That's how much we've spent this fiscal year, but the bulk of it was spent in 20. And we just recently heard that on that system, you remember when we talked about it, oh gosh, how long ago was it now? That there was going to be some grant funding, and we ended up getting $90,000 from Wyndham Wood Heat, and then another chunk of money from Efficiency Vermont as well to offset that system alone, outside of any of the HVAC. So that's what's going on with all the other major funds at this point. You'll be seeing more of them. There'll be ESSER money coming through, ESSER 1, ESSER 2, and ESSER 3 eventually.
Lori, how much grant money have you received this year? It seems to be in excess of normal by a lot.
Right. So I believe the last numbers that I saw just from the ESSER funds was around $6 million for the SU. And then there was also the HVAC, and which affected all of the districts, and the CRF. So I don't have that number off the top of my head for the SU wide, how much all of that was, but it's an interesting number and I can get it for you.
Great. Wow. That's fantastic work.
All right, Joe, maybe that's the last slide. I can't remember. I put this together.
This is the last slide.
Okay, all set then. Is there any questions that you have for the financial update?
I have a question.
Good, Abby.
How much does this audit cost?
For West River,
Mm-hmm.
I want to say $22,000. I would have to look up the exact amount.
No, it's just about just ballpark, and we do this every other year, or
every year.
And the supervisory union also has an audit done for about the same price for its budget.
Little less than this one. This is the biggest one, but yes, all the districts, including Wyndham, have a yearly audit.
Every district in the state.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of money we're spending on audits. Anyway, I just wanted to get a grip on that, and I'm reading through it, and you got through it with flying colors. So congratulations, good job.
Yeah, not often that you have a 4-page management discussion. That's
No, we've had audits where there were a lot of problems in the past, and this one looks like you passed with flying colors. So thank you.
Welcome.
Howie, I really appreciate you pointing that out, because Lori is definitely not going to point that out herself. And I know that it means a lot into our business office when we get an audit of the work that they do, and they are doing an excellent job. So Howie, thank you very much for pointing that out. And Al, thank you for seconding the point out, because that's our report card, right? That's our fiscal report card, and it's a big deal.
They didn't point out any problems in it, so that's pretty amazing. Good job.
That's an A+. All right, thank you, Lori. Appreciate it. Any other questions for Lori? No. All right. Thank you again. Moving on to leave request.
So we have a leave request before the board. I don't believe Mr. Roach is still on the call, but you guys have a letter. And essentially, this is,
He's
oh,
on.
Mr. Roach is there. So I will let Mr. Roach speak to this. But before he speaks, I just would like to say that I'm in full support of his recommendation. We are in concert on this.
Good evening, everybody. Yeah, as Bill has already mentioned that I've discussed it with him, and I have a leave request for Miss Hannah Parker, who is my 0.7 school counselor this year. Next year, her request ask is to be reduced to a 0.2, which would be a 1 day a week position. Her other time would be spent fulfilling her clinical hours. So she could be a licensed school counselor. And yeah, that's basically it. And that would go from the beginning of school until the first day back in January. So just see the first half of the year.
And I would just add that the timing of this, with the grant funds paying for 1.4 additional counseling services to the West River Elementary, does allow us to feel very confident in making sure that we have the services necessary for our students. But I interrupted Hannah before she was trying to say something.
It's totally fine. I just wanted to clarify that I would be licensed as a clinical mental health counselor. I'm already licensed as a school counselor.
Thank you.
Yep.
Good distinction. All right, so I assume we're looking for a motion on this?
Yes, motion to approve the leave request as presented.
All right. I'll
So
entertain
moved.
that motion. Do I have a second?
Ken, second.
Thanks, Ken. All those in favor say aye. Oh, sorry. Discussion? Jumping the gun. All right. Seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Abstentions? Seeing none, motion carries.
Okay, just a reminder, you guys are doing great. We are 12 and a half minutes ahead of time, but we can always do better. We can get out of here before our designated time. Keep rocking, Mr. Chair.
We would have been
right.
16 minutes if we'd stopped getting updates.
I know. No, doing great. Thank you. Okay. That's it for new business. Moving on to old business. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of April 12th, 2021.
So moved, Ken McFadden.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thanks, Howie. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Principal reports. Thank you to all the principals. Any, would we like to run through, or would that slow things down, Bill?
I think the principals did an excellent job articulating in their reports what they would like to share. And I would say that this moment is simply for any clarifying questions from the board.
Agreed. And do we have any such questions? And I would agree that the principal reports, you guys do an amazing job with principal reports, chock full of information, and really appreciate it. But did anybody have any questions? No? All right. Well, then we're moving along to the superintendent cabinet report, which I'm sure is probably the same. Any questions, comments for our great superintendent?
Another fabulous report, chock full of information.
Agreed. All right, moving along. This one we may want to settle on for a second. So long-term planning committee update. I know we've had 2 meetings already. And let's see, do we have, I think Drew.
Drew's not, is Drew here?
No,
Okay.
Drew had to leave, but we have Lindsay, we have Dana, and we have Leanne that could speak to anything. But I would just say I very much appreciate their work. They're an extremely efficient committee. From my perspective, they are gathering information that has been previously provided, and they're collecting it and reviewing it. But I'll let them speak.
Ladies, do you want to go first or? All right. Well, we are gathering information. We are putting our foreheads together and we got a game plan. We should have something rolling to you probably by midsummer, maybe early fall. And we will tie it in with, I know you got the ComCom update. We'll probably tie in our communications person to come in at some point and join us, and we'll bring it all together.
Perfect. Can you expound on what kind of information you're gathering?
Oh,
Can I
wow,
add to
that's-
that, maybe the roadmap of the game plan as it exists now?
well, we are looking at the options. We are also looking at bus routes. We are looking at financials. We are looking at innovative programs. Maybe think outside the box a little bit. We're looking at life experience type programs to bring into the school, something to attract. I mean, especially if Journey East was to go away, we would need something to entice people to want to tuition their students with us. So we're looking at different ideas. We're working Bill and his crew to death to find us, stuff out there, programs, different ideas. We're working on it, and the public does want to know what we're doing. So we had 2 members of the public show up at our meeting. So.
Okay, excellent.
I wish I had more for you guys, but I mean, it's
early days.
preliminary.
It's early days. Yeah.
We are hitting everything we can think of that, new buildings, new programs, new ideas, improving our records, everything needs improvement, or you can always improve. We're looking at maybe we can make improvements in different programs, we're looking at things.
All right.
Nothing's getting left untouched.
Lindsay, go ahead.
I was just going to add that we've already had 2 meetings and we're planning on meeting basically weekly for at least now. So, as everybody knows, there's a ton to weed through. We've had so much information come to the whole board in the past. There isn't a ton of new asks per se, because we've already seen so much, but we actually have to do the work, right? Like you actually have to dive in and go through it and digest it. And so we're sort of trying to be methodical about how we get to the end goal here. And so our next, just for reference, our next meeting on Thursday, we're going to be getting a facilities update again on where we're at and what do we need. And so every meeting we're sort of trying to be kind of focused on what one aspect of the process and slowly work our way through it. So it's happening.
That's great. All right. Any other questions for our long-term planning committee?
I have a question, but it's more of I don't know if it's for this committee. I would say it's more for the administration, is how are we doing on the drilling of the columns at Leland and Gray to find out if that building will stay sustainable for 15 years?
Go ahead, Bill.
Our Director of Operations, Greg Frost, is pursuing the development of an RFP for that. I should have an update probably by your next meeting in June.
Fantastic. I hope to see that on the agenda. Thank you.
So I know there was some interest in, as Dana, as you mentioned, the public coming to see the long-term planning committee. I would assume, given kind of where we're at pandemic-wise, that would probably be the same for us, the West River Education District. Don't know if it'll be next month, the month after that, but at some point we will need to be meeting at a place that the public will be able to have access to us and to that site. So
I imagine Bill will be getting guidance at some point here soon. Right, Bill?
Yeah, my routine now is on Tuesdays after my Monday board meetings is I send Secretary French a reminder that I just had a couple board meetings and my boards are very interested in being able to meet in person in the schools. What is the current update? You know, we're trying to be as flexible as possible. So for example, on Thursday, the long-term planning committee, we've booked the Townsend Town Hall to make sure that it's as easily accessible for the public as possible.
Thank you, Bill. Appreciate that. As far as our committee, I mean, it's easier to hash these things out in person than it is to do Zoom. And we're really appreciative of being able to do it in person and nail it out. And I mean, and whatever members of the public feel comfortable coming and meeting with us, it's okay. I know some express Zoom and it's hard for us to get, four of us to get focused in a meeting and then have to look for hands and stuff. It does throw us off. So.
yeah, agreed, Dana. Yeah, we'll all be back there soon. Can't wait. Great. Was there anything else for the committee? From the committee? All right, I think we're still on schedule. Let's move on to the ComCom.
So ComCom, you've got two of the members, but they've lost their chair. So I'll let Dana and Lindsay talk about that.
Lindsay?
The ComCom has not met very recently.
Yeah.
And now that we don't have a chairperson, we don't have direction. So we need some more people and a chair.
Can I make a suggestion? We kind of fold this committee into the long-term planning, since they kind of next couple months will need to start working together. Why not just merge it for temporary, and then we might bring Suzanne in at a later date, just for efficiency. And then if we need to separate at a later date, then we can do that. Are you guys up for that?
I would say
Yeah,
it seems all right as long as we can stay focused on, I think the long-term planning needs to be focused on the actual planning.
Yes.
And so that may mean that Suzanne becomes our communications committee with a slight oversight, which I'm cool with, but as long as everyone else is kind of cool with that.
I think to your point, we can just put the ComCom on hold, for a period of time, and then have Susan report out what you come up with in the long-term planning committee. Joe, did you have another thought?
Well, my suggestion was going to be these committees are formed to, with a specific charge, and the communications committee was really formed to get out the word on the budget. So it's done it's fulfilled its mission. I think we could disband the communications committee as it exists now, just kind of eliminated it. Continue with the long-term planning committee and let them decide with their own, you know, if they want to continue using that consultant, and obviously they have to communicate out as part of the long-term planning, and that'll go to the board, but we wouldn't have the separate committee because right now the driving force behind the communications is the long-term planning.
Go ahead, Howie.
Yeah, I think the committee did a great job, and for me, the basic goal of the committee was Susan. Now we have Susan to keep a website updated. I'm just looking at it now. It's good. It's, you know, clear to the point. You can direct people to it. They can find the meetings. They can see what's going on. They can see the minutes. And we have her on payroll, so she's being paid to make sure it stays updated, and it's awesome. So I think a good job has been done, and as long as we have Susan to keep doing what she's doing, we're good.
I would agree. Yeah, she's done an amazing job with the website. Yeah, it looks great. Okay, so what do we need to do to formally disband the ComCom?
I think you make a motion to disband the ComCon and just let it roll like there. I think that the long-term planning committee feels very comfortable communicating to Suzanne to support them.
All right, I'll entertain that motion.
I'll make it. It was my idea.
Second.
Discussion? No, all those in favor say aye.
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 All right, unanimous. ComCom is no longer, I miss saying ComCom. That's
LTP now.
yeah, LTP, yeah. All right, approved financials is next up.
That's bills and pay orders. I know I went through them and signed my copy and sent it off to Terry.
And I did the same, so.
Okay, so then I would make a motion to approve bills and pay orders in the amount or voucher 50, hang on. Voucher 54 in the amount of $78,826.83.
Is that the only one?
That's the only one.
Okay, so moved. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
I didn't get to look at it, but I'll second it.
I would be happy to send you the documents, Ken.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries, unanimous. All right, so looks like we have an executive session on the docket.
Joe, right? You still want this?
We want to talk about sort of the proposals and see where we want to go with them. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. I am going to put everybody who is not a board member in the waiting room. Lori Garland, have a very nice evening. Scotty Tabachnik, Craig
Hey, Lori,
Roach.
before you go, do you have the financial information on the co-curricular proposal yet?
All right, we're out.
All right, two last things. When's our next meeting?
So your next scheduled meeting based on your reorganization is June 21st. I would just point out that graduation for Leland and Gray is the 19th. I think that the principals' brains are going to be fried on the 20th, and I don't think we're going to see them for a while. So if it was possible to consider maybe moving the meeting to the 14th of June, I would think it could be beneficial to the long-term planning committee in case they need to report anything back before what I suspect is going to be a dead zone between June 20th and July 31st for most school systems, simply because of the exhaustion of the board members and the exhaustion of all our colleagues.
I'll entertain that motion.
So moved. Move that meeting from the 21st to the 14th.
Thanks, Howie.
And second,
Sure. I'll second.
discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Right. 6:14, next meeting. Carries. And that final motion, unless there was something I missed.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Great efficiency, guys. Great efficiency.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Have a great night, everybody. Take care.
You too.